name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182, on Charter Communications and Abundant Television. We're syndicated on Apple, Amazon Fire, and Roku TV. It's so exciting to be with you today. You can also find us on podcast. Make sure you check that out, netnewsnetwork.net. netnewsnetwork.net. You can find also some fantastic folks, talk show hosts that are really doing a fantastic job. And so let's go ahead and dig in, because, this is kind of a strange time we're living in right now. And we're all afraid to be in debt, because we don't know what might happen. You might lose your job. You might get short time. You might be put on a part-time instead of full-time. Who knows what's going to happen? So let's just get ready for it, just in case it happens. A lot of times, if you just know what to do, if you're sidestepped just a little bit, it can make life a lot easier. So let's dig in. Okay, so I found this article. Nerdwallet.com is beginning to be one of my favorite websites. And so this article is how to use debt to snowball to pay off a debt. Yeah, that's what I said. How to use debt snowball to pay off a debt. Let's find out what this means. Okay, so you pay off debts in order from smallest to largest, okay? That's how you get started. And then they have a calculator you can use just to see how this method would work basically for you. So with the debt snowball method, what you do is reward yourself for wins along your debt payoff journey. You pay your smallest debt in full first. Then you roll that amount that was going forward, that bill, into paying off your next biggest one. So let's just say you have, credit cards, okay? And so you have 3 credit cards, and you owe a big balance on them. Okay, so one, let's just say you owe $2,000 on it. And then let's just say another credit card balance is $5,000 and another one is $10,000. Pretty high interest rates on those. So this is what you want to do. You want to go ahead as soon as you can, put all the money that you can in that smallest amount. Okay, so that's $2,000. And you may get it paid off. This way you're kind of rewarding yourself, So you've got yourself budgeted. So you've been paying, say, $5,000 or $500 a month to pay this off. You're still paying a little bit of interest, but what you're doing is you're tricking the system. You're tricking the credit card system. So, and this is, say you got a goal set. Okay, I want to pay $500 a month, and I'm pretty sure I'll have to pay a little bit more because of the interest charges. But let's just say I want to get this $2,000 paid off, so I'm going to pay $525 a month. That way I know I've got it erased, I've got it done. Okay, so you got yourself used to paying $525 extra per month, right? Now we're going to skip over to we got that one paid off. That's the $2,000 one. So now we got that $5,000 one. Got to take care of that too. Okay, so pay what you've been paying on the $5,000 one with the extra $550. Okay, and look how fast that's going to pay off. You're going to have that paid off in less than a year. Okay, so now I've got myself used to paying, say, $550 a month, and then say maybe another $400 a month or whatever. So I'm going to use that money, or at least half of that money, to go ahead and pay off on that $10,000 credit card. That's how the snowball effect works. So what you're doing is you're conditioning yourself to get all this stuff paid off. I don't know if Dave Ramsey does this, but anyway, I love this method. And you can also go to daveramsey.com and come up with some really, really good ideas on how to get out of debt. Okay, so let's dig a little bit further, okay, because this is really going to be helpful. Now, you reward yourself for wins along your debt payoff journey. So you pay the smallest debt full first, like we said, and then you roll that amount that was going towards that bill into paying off the next biggest one. This amount you're paying on that debt will keep growing. It's much like rolling a snowball downhill. Okay, so small victories up front, the satisfaction of seeing debts eliminated one by one, that keeps you engaged, and it kind of gives you, we all need encouragement, right? So you're going to remember, wow, I got that $2,000 paid off. I don't owe that anymore. And then your next step is to get that $5,000 one taken care of, and then really buckle down and go on to that $10,000 one. Now, when you do that, let's say you got a house payment. Then what you can do is, you know what? I got myself really going. I got the $2,000, the $5,000, and the $10,000 paid off. let's put that extra money towards the house payment and see what happens. This is where you're really going to see something happen, okay? Because what you're doing is you're paying off. When you make these big payments towards that house payment, you're taking care of those finance charges, those interest charges, okay, on your house. And I told you about this story. It's Brad and Larissa. So they paid off their townhouse in less than 10 years. They had a 30-year mortgage. They saved, put the calculator to it, they saved over $100,000 when they got that townhouse paid off. They don't owe a house payment. They're not paying rent. And it's such a freeing feeling to them. And so they put themselves in this habit of saving so they could get that paid off. Now they're building up for the future. And that's what you want to do, because before you know it, if you're not looking for bargains, if you don't have a garden, let's just say a garden is another way you're saving on food costs that way. I would much rather grow my own lettuce than pay $5 for a head of lettuce. And it really doesn't take any time to do that. You can do it indoors. Now you're going to have to pay $100 for one of those hydroponic systems. I'm going to tell you, it'll pay off for itself in no time. When you're spending money, think about how it's going to pay off. Think about, let's see, how many heads of lettuce am I going to have to grow for that thing to pay for itself? You'll find yourself putting other things into that hydroponic system as well. And that's just one of the things I use, but you can do the same thing. Okay, so this keeps you engaged. It's very different from, there's an avalanche strategy that's just a little bit different, but this prioritizes the high interest debt to save money, but it may take longer to get that first debt wiped out. So that's how that one works. I agree with this. Let's get the smaller ones done first. Then graduate up, get rid of another one, graduate and get rid of another one. Okay, let's see. You know how I am. I get started talking to you and I just forget I'm on planet Earth. Okay, all right. So using the snowball method, let's talk a little bit about that. First, be sure that you've budgeted enough to cover the minimum monthly payment for every debt, okay? Now, that arrange the debts by balance from the smallest to the largest. Disregard the interest rate on each one, okay? All right, now every month, put that extra money that you have budgeted for getting rid of debt towards the smallest debt, even if you're paying more interest on a different one. Once the smallest debt is repaid, take the entire amount you were paying toward it, like we said earlier, and that monthly minimum plus your extra money, and target that next smallest debt. Keep knocking off debts, just wipe them out, just one after the other, and then diverting all that freed up money towards the next debt. Now here's how it could look in real life. If you have a hospital bill, say for $1,200, and that hospital is allowing you to pay interest free, and the two credit card bills for $5,000 are 22.9% interest and $3,000 at 15.9%. You'd pay the hospital bill first. That's right. You'd pay the interest-free loan before you paid those that accrue interest. Now, let's talk about why. This can make numbers people crazy because it usually saves time and money to pay the highest interest debts first. Now, the debt avalanche method is a better fit for them, but if you need to front load your payoff plan with early victories in order to stick with it, then the snowball method is definitely for you. Let's go ahead and cut into a commercial break, and we are going to return in just a couple of minutes. So you hang in there, okay? The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park, and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere MyPillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. Okay, we are back. Look for lower interest rates and way to pay more. We're going to talk about that in just a second. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. Make sure you check out the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. netnewsnetwork.net. Look for lower rates and ways to pay more. Okay, so if you choose the snowball strategy and your high interest debts are also the largest, don't ignore opportunities to find lower rates, especially if your credit score is climbing. That's another thing that's going to happen. And by the way, you can use creditkarma.com. That kind of turns into a game too. So if you have kind of like a really not so good credit, you can keep abreast of everything that's happened on creditkarma.com. Again, it's free. Okay. All right. Now, don't ignore opportunities to find lower rates, especially if your credit score is climbing. You may be able to transfer a credit card balance to a lower rate card. That's a possibility. You can also look into a debt consolidation loan, and that's an opportunity for you as well. Now, you might wonder whether you can even pay off your debt. You're sitting here and you're just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can even do this or not. I feel so overwhelmed. Take some deep breaths, okay? Breathe easy, okay? You can do this. You can make this happen. Okay, so you might wonder if you can even pay it off. Even with a debt snowball plan to keep you focused. Now, if your unsecured consumer debt, such as credit cards, personal loans, would take more than 5 years to pay, consider your options for debt relief. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Now, while both the snowball and the avalanche methods involve money, you actively budget to pay down debt. You can supplement either with debt snowflakes, and we're going to talk about that. That's small daily savings and found money that you pour into your payoff plan to hasten your project. So let's just say by some chance, maybe you get a couple $1,000s back from getting your taxes done. Use that money now towards paying off that debt. Don't go buy, a camera or something. Please do that, okay? And you'll find it's because by the time you buy that camera, you've lost it. You couldn't resell it for what you just bought it for if you waited until the next week. So think about spending your money wisely. Okay, now a 2012 Northeastern University study of nearly 6,000 debt settlement clients found that the fraction of debt accounts paid off was a better predictor of eventual success than the dollar amount. Achieving sub-goals can help you stick with your overall plan. Okay, if a debt snowball offers the kind of reinforcement that will keep you motivated, it's worth a premium to get your finances back on track. Okay, so this is what I want to go into. Let's look at options for debt relief, okay? Because you're like, well, oh man, it sounds kind of scary. What do you mean? Okay, understanding your options and the consequences. Okay, number one, when should you seek debt relief? Okay, consider bankruptcy, debt management, or debt settlement when either of these is true. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. You have no hope of repaying the unsecured debt, credit cards, medical bills. A lot of folks have to file because of medical bills, personal loans within 5 years, even if you take extreme measures to cut spending. Or if the total of your unpaid unsecured debt equals half or more of your income, gross income. On the other hand, if you could potentially repay your unsecured debts within 5 years, consider a do-it-yourself plan. That could include a combination of debt consolidation, appeals to creditors, and stricter budgeting. Now, that's what I want you to really think about. Be aware of scams of debt relief, okay? And they're out there. The scammers are going to try to put you even more in debt. So these are some things you need to think about. The debt relief industry includes scammers who are eager to take what little money you have. They don't care. They don't care that you're doing without food. They don't care that you're doing without heat. They don't care, okay? These people, it's no concern to them. And I'll have to tell you this, it's organized crime is what it is. Okay, so many people who enter debt relief programs fail to complete them. You could end up with debts that are even bigger than when you started. But debt relief may give you a new start or the breathing room you need to finally make real progress. Now, be sure you understand and verify these points before you enter any agreement. Don't sign anything until you think about this. What you need to qualify, okay? What fees you're going to have to pay. Ask these questions. It's real important. Which creditors are being paid? And how much. Now, if your debt is in collections, make sure you understand who owns the debt so payments go to the right agency. You also need to know the tax implications. Now let's talk about this. Let's see what time we got. Okay, we're doing good. Okay, so debt relief through bankruptcy. Let's talk about this. There's little point in entering a debt settlement or a debt management plan if you're not going to be able to pay as agreed. We recommend talking with a bankruptcy attorney first before you pursue any debt strategy. Initial consultations are often free. You can call any attorney. Call my friend, Attorney Jeff McCurdy in Henniger, Alabama, or wherever you live. Find a really good attorney. And if they can't help you, if they are worth anything whatsoever, they're going to help you find a good attorney. Okay, and if you don't qualify, you can actually move on to other options. Now, the most common form of bankruptcy, Chapter 7, is liquidation. It can erase most credit card debt. Unsecured personal loans and medical debt, it can be done in 3 or 4 months if you qualify. Now, here's what you need to know, okay? It won't erase taxes owed. It will not erase child support obligations. It will not reduce student loan debt, and it's highly unlikely to ever be forgiven, okay? It will hurt your credit scores and stay on your credit report for up to 10 years, even if you work to restore your credit history. However, if your credit is already bad, a bankruptcy may allow you to rebuild your credit sooner than continuing to try to repay. You can learn more about bankruptcy, whether that's an option for you or not, by going to nerdwallet.com, and you'll be able to find that. Okay, now if you have used a cosigner, think about this. If you use the cosigner, your bankruptcy filing will make that cosigner solely responsible for that debt. Be super, super careful helping anybody by being a cosigner, okay? Be very careful. I've known families that have just been disrupted because of that. Maybe the grandmother signed for the grandson, and then the grandson got into like a really bad debt, and she wound up having to pay. Okay, so be super careful. Okay, we talked about it won't remove the debt for if you owe child support, and that's another big one, okay? If debts continue to pile up and you can't file another chapter, if they do continue to pile up, you cannot file another Chapter 7 bankruptcy for another 8 years. Okay, now it may not be the right option if you would have to give up property that you want to keep. Now, the rules vary by state. Typically, and make sure your state could be different than mine, okay? So make sure you check this stuff out. Typically, certain kinds of property are exempt from bankruptcy, such as vehicles up to a given value and part of the equity of your home. And it may not be necessary if you're judgment proof, which means, let's find out what that means. It means you don't have any income or property a creditor can go after. Now, the creditors can still sue you and get a judgment, but they won't be able to collect. But now you don't want that hanging on the back of you, okay? Chapter 13 is a 3 or 5 year court-approved prepayment plan. Now, that's based on your income and your debt. So if you're able to stick with the plan for its full term, the remaining unsecured debt is discharged. It will take longer than a Chapter 7, but if you're able to keep up with payments, the majority of people are not, you could get to keep your property. A Chapter 13 bankruptcy stays on your credit report for 7 years from that filing date. Okay, now relief from debt management plans. Now, a debt management plan allows you to pay your unsecured debts, usually like credit cards and that kind of thing, in full, but often at a reduced interest rate, or at least with the fees waived. You can make a single payment each month to a credit counseling agency, which distributes it among your creditors. Credit counselors and credit card companies have long-standing agreements in place to help debt management clients. Now, your credit card accounts will be closed, and in most cases, you'll have to live without credit cards until you complete the plan. Many people do not complete them. Debt management plans themselves do not affect your credit scores, but closing accounts can hurt your scores. Once you've completed a plan, you can apply for credit again. Now, missing payments can knock you out of the plan, though. And it's important to pick up an agency accredited, and keep this, okay? needs to be an agency that's accredited by the National Foundation for Credit Counseling. Again, beware of scammers, okay? There's going to be somebody giving you a call. When we moved into our house at Charlotte, North Carolina, I had a relative who said we filed bankruptcy. It wasn't us. It was the person. So we bought the house from the bank. But we were getting phone calls from people at our new house. And so we were getting phone calls, and they thought we were the ones that filed bankruptcy, and they were trying to get us to make these payments and all this kind of stuff. And it's like it was really annoying. And we kept telling them, look, we just bought this house. We bought it from the bank, and somebody didn't do the paperwork right, I'm pretty sure, from this attorney in Charlotte. And so it was like phone call after phone call after phone call. And again, it wasn't us, but somebody had the paperwork wrong. Now, if that happens, what you can do is call your state attorney's office, and they'll take care of it. That's how we got that stopped. So we called North Carolina State Attorney's Office, and I said, look, we keep getting these phone calls. We just bought this house from somebody who filed bankruptcy. We filed it from a bank, and apparently somebody didn't do the paperwork right. So these people keep harassing us, wanting payments from us. We bought it from the bank. Clear. So there is help out there. It's your state attorney's office. They can help. Okay? Now, debt plans themselves do not affect your credit scores, but closing accounts can hurt your scores. So again, once you've completed a plan, you can ask for credit again. Now, missing payments can knock you out of that plan, though. So it's important to pick that agency, the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, or the Financial Counseling Association of America. Even then, make sure you understand the fees and what alternatives that you may have for dealing with debt. Now, relief, and I got just a couple of minutes left. Relief through debt settlement. Debt settlement is the last resort for those who face overwhelming debt but cannot qualify for bankruptcy or don't want to file bankruptcy. Debt settlement companies typically ask you to stop paying your creditors. Instead, put the money in an escrow account. So each creditor is approached as the money accumulates in your account and you fall further and further behind on your payments. Fear of getting nothing at all may motivate the creditor to accept a smaller lump sum offer. That could happen, and agree not to pursue you for the rest. Now, not paying your bills can result in collection calls, penalty fees, and potentially legal action against you. Debt settlement stops none of that while you're still negotiating, but it can take months for the settlement offers to begin. Depending on how much you owe, the process could take years. And the continued late payments further damage your credit score. So you may face a bill for taxes on the unforgiven amount, which the IRS counts as income. Can really get deep right here. Lawsuits can lead to wage garnishments and property liens. You can also attempt to settle the debt yourself, or you can hire a professional. Now, the debt settlement business is riddled with bad actors, okay? Some bad guys out there. Though the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the National Consumer Law Office, and the Federal Trade Commission cautions consumers in the strongest possible terms. Some of those companies who advertise themselves as debt consolidation companies, they are not. Debt consolidation is something you can do on your own, and it will not damage your credit. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you so much for watching, and also make sure you check out the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net, netnewsnetwork.net. We're so proud that you're part of our lives. I absolutely appreciate you. Hope you learned something. And again, I appreciate the emails. Donna@donnasedge.net. Donna@donnasedge.net. You take care. I'll see you in a few minutes with another awesome show.